literally switched colleges to pursue interior design.
People are smart and they know what they want, and they know if you're designing to try to win an award or you're designing to make them happy.
It's more just about the color and the feel than it is about being super precise.
Act 1. What and how? When you walk into a room, what's the first thing you notice? Is it the color of the walls, the art hung upon them, or the furniture you'll be using to relax, set down your things, or eat your food? Whichever one it may be, they all play a crucial role in how your brain interprets the space, and everything just mentioned is only a small piece of this greater art form. So, what is interior design? Well, it's best known as the professional and comprehensive practice of creating an interior environment that addresses, protects, and responds to human needs.
I think interior design is the process through education and experience in helping people create a space that they enjoy.
This, of course, includes everything from the influence a room has on your mind to the ergonomics and practicality of the space.
Interior design is not for everyone and is not easy.
An interior designer's job is to work with the client, ensuring that all of their needs are met and that their desires are feasible.
You talk to the customer, your client, first.
What you like isn't what you're going to be doing for your client. So you have to be able to pick up and run with any inspiration, theme, idea, or style in order to make your clients happy.
Interior design is nothing new. This architectural art form has been around for ages, and as time goes on, designers must adapt with it.
The whole industry took on a big change when the computer came in. CAD was quicker, it was easier to fix it and all that, but the drafting was beautiful. The next thing that affected interior design as an industry was the internet. Say it's like the lighting industry. In the old days, the designer would pick the lights. I don't know if she marked it up or whatever she did, but now it's sold online, and the company that's selling it never even takes possession of the light. They just order the light, it goes from the thing, and they'll make a 5% just for passing it through.
Whether you're walking through a store, eating at a restaurant, waiting for an appointment, or simply relaxing in the comfort of your own home, art and interior design tends to pop up everywhere, and sometimes it's so subtle that you don't even notice.
Some of the subtle aspects of interior design are neutral colors within the color palette.
Where before it was all mahogany, now it could be the same thing but in a gray tone or a light wood tone. It's always good to keep an open mind because there could be something better that comes out. Young minds come up with new things.
Another subtle aspect might be lighting, either permanent lighting additions like recessed lighting or upgrading of lightings, not only just for the look of the fixture itself, but for the amount of light it provides. And then adding non-permanent lighting such as lamps and other lighting elements to an already lit space to make it brighter. I want to say that most of my interior design work involves lighting of some sort.
Act 2. Influence and psychology.
Warm colors created through incandescent lights or colored lights create a cozy atmosphere, especially at a lower wattage.
At first, for example, you can make sure to select a white globe or a clear globe or a shaded globe in your light in order to control the temperature, but also a lot of it has to do with the light bulb you buy. And people often overlook window treatments as an important feature in the lighting of a room or the lighting process of interior design.
You want to take advantage of the position of how the light comes into the space when you design a room, because it could be flooded with light or it could be very little light.
So it's not all about letting light in. Sometimes it really is about filtering light or not letting as much light in.
If it doesn't have a lot of light, you want to make sure the room is lit with light. Well, you want to make sure it's painted with light colors and then has enough artificial light to compensate for the lack of light.
I like color, so it's important to me to have color in my house. I have a pale green in the living room, which you can see, and then I've got browns and blues, apricot, and even like kind of a chocolate bedroom, but like a light chocolate, not a dark chocolate.
Every color has its own impact on our mood and psychological state of mind. This is due to the encounters we experience throughout life.
The main thing with color is it sets the mood. That's why fast food restaurants use yellow and orange, because it makes people hungry. Bedrooms are blue because it's tranquil.
However, some of us may associate unique memories with certain colors.
Some people will associate red with like anger, but for me it's more about adding warmth. You can put red on almost any palette and it just gives it a little bit of life.
When working with an interior designer, it's important to communicate everything you like and dislike, allowing your connection and understanding to grow.
I helped my mother decorate her house. We worked with a designer, her name was Teresa, and she did a really great job of addressing my mom's needs and bringing forth new ideas. She helped Mom to visualize some of the things that we had been talking about, and she also helped her get her kitchen floor. She picked out a tile that she thought she wouldn't like in a million years, and it was beautiful, really, really beautiful. We went to the store, we talked to the designer about the colors that she had. We brought some samples with us of the colors that we had, and then we took some samples home and we laid them on the floor and kind of lived with it for a little while. Teresa found this really nice tile, and we put that down there on the floor. And as soon as she laid it down, after we had tried all these other samples, she was like, "That's the one I want, that one." And I was like, "That one is perfect."
Another part of the designer's job is to help the client choose art pieces for their space. This is a key point in the design process because without art, walls are just walls, especially without some kind of pattern to spruce it up.
I did work with one client in a hospital that said she didn't want any dying art. She didn't want landscapes that were all dreary, and she didn't want anything rainy day or nothing that could be looked at in a depressing way.
When I first moved into the house, Gene, my husband, had already lived here for 6 years. So the first artwork I brought in was a picture that my mom and dad had framed for me, which was an Augusta Renoir. Later, my husband and I, we invested in some artwork on a cruise. We went to the Park West Gallery, and I fell in love with these Marc Chagall paintings. I didn't know he was going to buy the artwork. We were just looking, and he told me to pick two. So I chose this one, which the colors are so rich and vibrant and yet soft all at the same time. And the one behind me, another Marc Chagall, she's just a girl who's coming down out of the clouds and the perilous journey to adulthood. So it's a story about growing up and the trials and tribulations that come with that and the journey of it. I mean, she's riding on a cloud. She better get down quick. So it's interesting. And that's what art does for me. It just makes me think.
Act 3. Commercial and Residential.
The Marc Chagalls, together they were $2,500. So it was an investment of $5,500 altogether, but definitely well worth it. I enjoy looking at it every single day. I never get tired of it. It's just beautiful. A lot of what I see that's modern sometimes feels more superficial to me. Kind of like when you go to McDonald's and they have that really bland, like, landscape with thin lines, you know, and you kind of look at it and you're like, oh yeah, there's a painting, and you just kind of walk away. Because it got commercialized, it's in a specific format. I don't know, sometimes I feel like we've lost our creative power in the commercialization of it.
In the interior design world, work life and home life are two very distinct categories.
With commercial, you're usually dealing with the owner, and he wants it to be functional. He wants to save money. He tends to just hand it off to you to do it and bring it back because he doesn't want to spend the time on it. If they want an impact, something that they can't go out and just buy it, I'll get that for them. So the selection would be based upon what is going on in the space and to reflect, you know, what they want to convey.
On the flip side, residential customers usually prefer a more hands-on approach.
They're more involved, it's more personal. They don't always select what's best or the most functional because there's personal feelings towards things.
If it's a fresh remodel or a new build, we're going to ask the client what their colors are and go from there. I've spent thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars in inventory to get to where I'm at as a business. We have we'll say a 4,000 square foot warehouse worth of furniture.
I've had people in space planning tell me that things will fit, that you don't, and then they'll draw it like on a napkin, not to scale, and say, see, it fits, because you could draw anything. They'll have a chair that's like 6 inches big, and they'll have spaces that you can't get into the room because there's so much stuff. Some decorators will go down to the level of dishes and forks and spoons. I usually don't do that. I pick the colors, the furniture, the layout, and then the people do their own personal touches. People are smart and they know what they want, and they know if you're designing to try to win an award or you're designing to make them happy. So if they're paying you to design for them or you're supplying furniture for them, get them what they want that'll last. I believe it's important because it helps people feel better. Nature is perfect, but the insides of buildings aren't. And if you can help people create a space that makes them feel good and healthy, they'll live a happier life.